All right, good evening, and thanks for clicking on to the Sunday edition of Vogan's European Outlook, the 6th of March. This was the scene from the shores of Loch Morlich this afternoon. We're seeing people out and about enjoying the increasingly strong March sunshine. A very decent snowpack, actually, over the higher hills, as you can see. But down at the lower levels, it was all clear, and you could feel a nice little bit of warmth of that sunshine as the sun grows ever stronger day by day. But of course, the clear skies that we've seen through the course of today, those produced a fairly chilly night last night, and we'll see that again over the course of tonight. Temperatures down as low as -7 at Altnahara this morning, -6 at Loch Liscarnock, -4 at Aviemore, which of course is right next door to Loch Morlich. A couple of spots probably away from Aviemore, closer to Loch Morlich, and even to the foot of the Cairngorms, probably seen temperatures colder than -4, -5.5 at Tulloch Bridge or Furset. Actually, that's Tulloch Bridge is actually, it's a funny kind of one because it technically actually doesn't exist, and Lee of Highland Weather has often pointed that out, even to the Met Office as well, that there's no such place as Tulloch Bridge. It's quite interesting, actually, that. And I have to agree with him, you can't really find Tulloch Bridge on a map if you were to look for it. But anyway, I'm digressing. Of course, these are the current temperatures across the European continent. Mild in the west, very cold air all the way up, tucked into the northwestern portion of Russia, as you can see here. And that cold air is trying to push southwards and southwestwards as I speak. And we are going to see more cold air through the course of this evening, all thanks to high pressure that is kind of sinking a little bit further south as I speak this evening. So therefore, instead of it being over the North Highlands and Central Highlands, the coldest air last night, we could in fact see temperatures drop to similar levels over the northern portion of England this evening and into tomorrow morning. But one thing is interesting is the modelling is has backed off pretty much on the easterly wind that was shown by the models and had been for several days, moving westwards here, the cold air from a building area of high pressure over Scandinavia. Models now show the Atlantic winning the battle between high pressure and cold continental air over Europe, trying to progress westwards, versus the Atlantic and weather systems trying to move in from the Atlantic, and it looks as if the Atlantic is going to win. And of course, when you really look at things, I did think that we would see a spell of cold easterly winds. We will very briefly see a modest chill from the east over the next 24 to 36, maybe 48 hours, but it looks as if once we get to the middle portion of the upcoming work week, the Atlantic will take charge. We're going to, instead of having winds coming in from the southeast and a cold direction, we are going to see winds coming in from the southwest, and that is going to bring much milder conditions midweek onwards, I think. But I suppose, really, when you think about it, you know, forecasting, and this was something I never ever said, that we were going to get a full bona fide easterly with snow showers and a complete, not a reversal. I did think that there would be a temporary spell of cold easterlies coming in from the continent into the UK, but it looks as if there is a quicker uh, fight back, if you will, from the Atlantic. And the Atlantic really has just been so dominant lately, and really throughout the course of the winter season. And really, it really is going to be one of those things that I think I'm going to spend the next few months really kind of trying to research exactly what went on during the course of the winter season, whether it be the too strong easterly QBO, and other factors, including an exceptionally warm Atlantic basin and of course the driving mechanism being the very strong positive Arctic oscillation. North Atlantic oscillation was positive as well, and of course when you get a positive Arctic oscillation with a very warm Atlantic and no tripole of warm cold warm, really it is going to be the Atlantic that wins the day, and that is the case. And forecasting anything other than that, you do at your peril. So the Arctic oscillation, as you can see here, has been dominantly positive really throughout the course of this year so far. It was started off the year slightly negative, as you can see here. There was a slight dip at the beginning of February, but all in all, it has been a very, very strongly positive Arctic oscillation, of course, driven by the very strong stratospheric and tropospheric polar vortex, an exceptionally cold tropospheric polar vortex. Temperatures are good 20, 30 degrees Celsius colder than what you would expect within the tropospheric vortex. But it has been a very strong vortex this year. And of course, the script. I've already been saying this for quite a long time. We are seeing and watching the warming taking place within the stratosphere. There is indications of warming further down towards the troposphere. We will watch and see what happens. And of course, a lot of these warm winters with a La Nina in place, it can be succeeded by colder periods during spring, if not downright cold springs overall. And it's going to be interesting to see whether we can see that coming back in April here. So we'll continue to monitor it as we go forward, of course. But this is the script here. So this is of the GFS. High pressure, as you can see here, kind of starts to become a little bit deflated as we go into the new work week. We've got a heck of a lot of weather ganging up to the west over the Atlantic here. We've got, of course, high pressure over the continent. There is an element of cold air getting driven down from these two areas of high pressure here. So we've got the very cold air right up in the northeastern portion of Europe that is trying to push south. But the models have even backed off on how much cold air is in place over the heart of Europe here. There doesn't seem to be just as much cold as there once was here. And as you can see here, by the time we reach even Tuesday morning, we've got winds coming in from the southeast, chilly initially, but then of course we are going to start to see the milder air coming in with weather systems moving in. So the GFS indicates that we've got an actual system coming in from the southwest as early as 1800 hours UTC time on Tuesday, and then that's followed by more weather moving in during the course of Wednesday here. And of course, with that, we are essentially pushing back any attempt at cold air. So we've got an area of high pressure, 1037 millibars over western Russia. There is cold air coming down underneath that area of high pressure. But what we've got here is an area of high pressure over the Alps, and of course systems coming in from the west. Now it is going to be interesting to see how much cold air we can get associated with this, because the tropospheric polar vortex has been very dominant over the north of Canada, extending over into Greenland, and of course when you've got cold air getting filtered southwards over the Atlantic, becoming entrained within these circulations, of course you keep an eye on the potential for colder air coming in on the backside. Remember what I showed you actually not that long ago about cold air over the continent, cold air over Europe, over the Atlantic, and the two kind of coming together. And even though we may lose the cold over the continent because the Atlantic becomes the main driver, we may have enough cold air within these areas of low pressure to kind of bring in some sort of snowy conditions at times. But you can see here that the majority of the precipitation really is largely of rainfall, because we just don't have a lot of cold air. It looks as if almost these circulations kind of lose a lot of their chill by the time they reach the UK here overall. And of course, when you've got these areas of low pressure over a warm Atlantic, you start to kind of wash out any type of polar origin air that has become entrained within circulation as we go forward here. So I know it's disappointing. I'm disappointed in the fact that we aren't really going to see any kind of easterly wind really into the early portion of the week. But this is just the way the winter's been. It's just been a big disappointment, if you ask me here. And I know there's people out there that are saying you've got it wrong again, and I get that, and I do hold my hand up to that. And there is going to be a lot of time spent analysing this winter, and really analysing exactly the future of my long range forecast as we go forward here. So that's it for today. Hope you all had a good weekend, and I'll hopefully be back tomorrow. If not, I'll be back again on Tuesday with more. Bye for now.